the word that just kept coming to my mind was standard. Like he's the standard for, the way to play. He was a standard for the way to be a teammate, for the way to use his voice off the court, from the way he treated people and treated, everybody around him. I think the thing that, you have such a different feel when I think you get a chance to know the teammates and the people over the years that unfortunately we've lost quite a few of them here in the recent past. But the way that they spoke about him and his impact, you take whatever's being said about him today and it's only more glowing. It's just a remarkable winner in every sense of the word. So I don't know that, obviously I think anytime you have a person with his voice and you use it to better things off the floor, that's the greatest impact. But certainly his impact on the court and his impact in the game, he's one of, if not the greatest winner of all time in any sport.
We miss him so much. He was everything to the Celtics. I guess I feel like he was everything to humanity. I mean, I really want to go there. I want to say that the world is a better place because of his commitment and his steadfast drive to make things better and to insist on people understanding the way things needed to be done. And I believe he used his basketball skills and talents as a teammate and as a player and as a coach to demonstrate how to do things right on and off the court. I just feel every time I ever spoke with him, we ever spoke with him, it was about his teammates and it was about his pride and it was about trying to then convey to our new generation of players, how to be a Celtic and how to be a teammate and how to be a man, as President Obama said. So there's just irreplaceable. He'll never be forgotten.
He's the single most significant and impactful basketball player that ever lived, and one of the most significant and impactful athletes that ever lived. And I even hesitate to say that because Bill Russell never thought of himself as an athlete. That was only a small part of his life. And never mind that he was probably the greatest rebounder that ever lived, one of the most incredible shot blockers we've ever seen, 11 championships in 13 years. No one will ever do that again. All those things aside, what always was just amazing to me was in that climate. And you're talking about the 60s and 70s, a climate which our country was very racially divided at times and, nowhere more than the city of Boston, especially during the times of busing. And yet Bill Russell had the courage and the tenacity to not talk about being an activist, but actually being one, whether it was when Medgar Evers was assassinated and Bill, after talking with Medgar's brother, went down and ran the first integrated basketball camp in Mississippi, or when Martin Luther King was assassinated and Bill's devastated that his friend is gone and he's supposed to play Wilt Chamberlain in the Philadelphia Warriors the next day in a basketball game. And his initial thought was, I'm voting not to play. I'm devastated. I don't want to play. We should honor his memory. But after talking with the commissioner of the NBA, the mayors in the other cities, they're watching live rioting on television. He had to make with a heavy heart a decision that, no, we need to play. That would be better for my community, for our community. And then, of course, they paused the season after that for a couple of days so Bill could go down to Atlanta and march to Ebenezer Church with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. So his impact goes so far beyond basketball, even in the city of Boston. Remember, very heavily involved in supporting the Black community during a really rugged, terrible time in our city during busing. So he had the courage of the conditions. He didn't care what you thought of him because all he cared about was what was doing what he thought was right. And if you didn't like it, too bad.
I hope they understand who this man was off the court. We have enough players that we could talk about and hours that we could talk about the things he did in basketball. Again, 11 world championships, 5 MVPs, 25 rebounds per game, I think was his career average in playoff games. I mean, he was remarkable. But again, I hope that kids will understand that this is a man who wanted to change our culture for the good. And he was willing to go out and do it, even though that was not a popular thing to do. I mean, he played basketball for 80 nights there, 120 nights a year once the playoffs were through. He didn't need to be going down to Alabama and Mississippi and holding clinics, but that's what he did. And that's how I hope he'll be remembered most, actually.
He's an inspiration. He's a man who lived his life exactly how we all should and could as Black men in this league. He was an advocate. He was an ally. He was a person that will always be remembered for not only his charismatic personality and sense of how he passionately fought for a cause, but also how unique he was to a city that really needed it at the time. And for as much of a great winner as he was not only just a winner on the court, but he was a winner off. He went through so many struggles that we will never understand to this day from his own person. And at the end of the day, I look back to him and realize how much he meant to not only me, but also to my family. My grandfather is 86 years old, and he always talked about how the Celtics were his favorite team. From the day I was born, from the day that I moved on through high school, through college, he always speaks on how much the Celtics meant to him, not only because of his relationship and playing career against Sam Jones, but also because of how influential Bill Russell, Casey, Sam, and every brother that has played for the Celtics has been for not only the community of the NBA, but also for the world. So looking up to Bill Russell has always been something that, even though he predates even my living, it's something that I always look to. And the day I met him at the Lakers game was an honor, and something that I will always be able to share with not only my grandparents, but also my kids for the future.